and welcome to Teretonga and round 2 of the Mike Pero Motorsport Series. Round 3 of the Parker NZ V8s. And Greg Brink, boy, what a week it's been. A week of drama for these V8 guys.
Yes, definitely. Drama 1, Paul Manuel. Huge crash in the last race at Timaru. Car was just basically written off.
Certainly looked that way when we left Timaru, but the people of Timaru got it behind the Oryx team, and unbelievably, they've got it rebuilt and down on the grid here.
Drama 2, Mark Pedersen, last year's V8 touring car champion. Unwell last week, fainted a couple of times, and he's not here this weekend as a result, just through to glandular fever.
Bad news for Mark. Good news for us, though, because Paul Radisich has come back from Australia to take over his Falcon for this meeting.
Drama 3, Kane Scott, dominated last weekend's racing. Unfortunately, illegal clutch meant he was disqualified from the round altogether. The team appealed the decision, and unfortunately for Kane, he's had to start from square one. They've disallowed it.
But talk about bounce back, because where is Kane Scott starting in these races today? Pole position. We're looking forward to a good race meeting here at Teretonga with the V8s.
Kane Scott, we can talk about appeals and hearings and all that sort of thing, but at the end of the day, there is one way to answer your critics most decisively, and you've done it.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? It's a lot of work around here, and as I said earlier, it's an awesome track, so we're just over the moon.
It is a fact that as a result of losing its appeal against the Timaru exclusion, the Super Cheap team has also lost the success ballast that it had picked up.
We've got a heavy old car anyway, you've just got to put it together. There's not a lot between the first 10 cars out there, so maybe a little bit's help, who knows.
Second fastest qualifier Andy Booth benefited from the points Scott lost at Timaru, but pays for them with the 40 kilos of ballast his team Kiwi Racing Commodore has to carry here.
Yeah, I'd rather have the win and take the weight though. So yeah, I mean it's going to be tough this weekend. With the 40 kilos changes the whole balance of the car and really slows it down under acceleration. It's like carrying a young teenager in the passenger seat with you, so it will slow you down. But we've obviously still got the pace with the weight on board, so we'll just go out and try and get some race wins, earn some more weight. Yeah, we had a few disasters on the first corner here last year, and it was certainly nice to be on the front row and let all that happen behind you. So, we're looking forward to a nice clean race tomorrow, or 3 races, and it's good having Paul Radisich up there as well to prove that the Falcons do go fast, and looking forward to a good dice with him.
Angus Fogg, second in the series points, struggles in qualifying here, ends up 7th.
Had a few hiccups yesterday. We did a clutch and a gearbox, and also sort of stuffed into the tyre wall just slightly. So it's a very daunting track. This one's very fast. If you have an off, you usually hit something reasonably hard. So we'll be trying to avoid that. And I think you'll find the Fords will be a lot more on the case here with their better horsepower package, and obviously the Rat is back, so that's a factor. Not in the championship, but race-wise. So yeah, I think there's 10 or 12 cars within a Nats Nunu of each other, so the racing's going to be awesome.
Chance of improving on those second and third placings this weekend and actually staying on top of the podium in one of the races, you think?
I think we're going to struggle. We haven't got the very best engine there. The car's good, and we're happy with the setup. We'll see. I mean, it could rain tomorrow, and that'll be a godsend. But we're just going to keep banging away at it and try and keep us finishing as high up as we can, and see what happens at the end of the year.
Paul Manuel, after the miracle of the car rebuild in Timaru, is brought back to earth with a blown engine and no dream return in qualifying 12th.
Yeah, we've had a big week. There's been a lot of hours going. Guys certainly deserve a medal, and while I got the opportunity, I'd like to say thanks very much to all the guys in Timaru. The town just came alive for us. The support, Brown and Shipman, Craig Gilbert, a few of the locals there, it just lit up, and true colours of Timaru really shone through. And yeah, this is for them as well as my sponsors. It was awesome to be involved with such a big effort. Pretty sure it was all over for this meeting. The car was very serious. It's had like sort of 400 man-hours spent on it, and to do that in a week, we're struggling a little bit now with setup and bits and pieces, but hey, we're here, and that's the main thing. We're still chasing the championship. I mean, what happened to us, I hope it doesn't happen to anyone else, but it can happen to anyone else. And we've still got 5 or 6 meetings to go, so we're just going to push on as hard as we can and as hard as we did in the beginning.
Also down on expectations is Timaru race winner Wade Henshaw, third in the points, but eighth on the grid here.
Really just got held up every good lap I got. I got someone in the way, I was trying to pass someone, so yeah, pretty disappointed. We were quite fast this morning, thinking we might be very close to the front row. One of another, South Island tracks, I've been around here many times. Put new tyres on my car and yeah, just didn't get a clear lap, so we'll race them. Same thing as Timaru. My car's really good as the day gets on, so like third race, my car's really good.
Henshaw has his mind on the difficult, fast first turn off the long front straight.
Mine's 218k going in there, so you're fair whistling along. There's plenty of passing opportunities here. Like Timaru is a lot tighter, smaller track, so there's plenty of opportunities to pass. Nice big sweeping corners, nice long straightaway. So if you get a good drive on the straight, you generally can have a run at someone at the end here.
Paul Radisich is a standout third in his first qualifying session in one of the Kiwi V8s.
Yeah, no, we're happy with that. We've tried a few things. We're having quite a bit of understeer problem through the sweeper, and that's about roughly where I'm losing a 2 or 3 tenths of time. So we'll see if we can make some changes over the night and come back a little bit stronger for the race. But hey, very happy with that qualifying position, considering, without too much running in the car and getting in and doing it. And I think tomorrow might be able to just sort of hang on to them for the races.
You think that you've got a realistic shot at actually maybe getting a win out tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. The car's the Ford Falcon is good in a straight line, and I can keep with them in the straight. And like I said, we can just make the handling a little bit better. At the moment, I would say that, if I had to race on what I qualified, we'd probably struggle to hang on to them, the two in front. But I think with the changes we'll do tonight, and we'll give them a bit of a run for their money, make them work for their championship points.
And it's also the longest. Into third gear, back on the throttle, just float the car into the first part. We'll get a little bit loose in the middle of the corner there, just squeezing on the power. Squeezing on the power on the exit. Flipping the apex on the outside. Into the exit, second gear corner, quite fast on the entry. Picking up the throttle early on. Just squeeze the car through the apex. Short shifting into third, get it car to change direction. Out here real fast. One car wants to drift wide, braking into the hairpins, back on the power. Car get loose here. Into third. Okay, this is the first gear corner. Very important to carry the speed onto the straight. So you really got to squeeze the power on here. Bump in the middle. Just shifting up through the gears now. Trying to carry that speed out of that corner. Start to spin the front.
Think minis, think Angus Fogg. The two just go together.
Yeah, that's really been my racing life. I've been racing for 22 years and started in minis, and as late as last year ran a mini again, and that's what I make my money from. I'll try to anyway. My business is building race cars and specialising in minis. So yeah, minis are my life.
And yet the mini star seems just at home and enjoying himself just as much behind the wheel of a V8 touring car.
Absolutely. The Mini 7 thing is a fantastic learning class, and teaches how to get the very best out of very little. And it certainly applies here. Even the engine side of things and everything is you've got to make the most out of every little bit. And so yeah, definitely the driving style's similar but not the same. Obviously you've got 3 or 4 times the horsepower and rear wheel drive, but they are quite chuckable, and not too chuckable, but so yeah, it's fantastic. They're great. They're really awesome class. Loving driving the car. It's obviously I've driven a supercar as well, and that was very difficult. These are easy compared to one of them. You know, half the horsepower and half the grip, so you can get away with a lot more. So yeah, we've come to grips with it quite quickly and really enjoying it.
Foggy did transition through 2-litre touring cars en route to his V8 debut this season, including a memorable year with Team Kiwi Racing.
Jason Richards and myself were lucky enough to be the two guys that were chosen, and we certainly had a lot of mileage and did some awesome things that certainly I would have probably never would have done and probably will never do again. So yeah, that was really good. It was a lot of hard work as well, you know, touring the country and building the cars. So that was sort of my job to build and run the 2-litre cars, which they were successful as well. Once again, Jason won the championship and we beat the BMWs again, so it was really good.
Working this year with V8 touring car constructor Ken Hopper, Fogg knew he had a car for lease.
It was hurting me that it was there, and I thought I needed to drive it, but didn't have any money, so a good friend of mine, Tom Ryan, put a package together with a lot of his supporters and suppliers, and here we are, we're racing and we're doing really well, and we're wrapped. The supercar thing, there would have been a lot of doubters is probably a mild way of putting it, but people, you know, who sit on their armchair at home and say, oh, he can't do this and he can't do that and he shouldn't be doing that. You know, I can drive, and I think this has sort of shown a few people that I am still okay and I don't spin every lap, and it's just the supercar thing is so difficult, and this is a really good stepping stone, and as I said, when I win Lotto, look out Conacher.
It's a sunny, windy Sunday here at Teretonga, the southernmost circuit in New Zealand and maybe in the world, and the V8 field about to get underway here behind the safety car, Kane Scott, the man making his comeback to full-time motor racing in New Zealand in the V8s and on pole position. And the field, 28 cars qualified yesterday. This is down the back end of that field. David Parsons on board. He's going to have a lot of action in front of him. This is Wade Henshaw's car. He'll be starting 8th. So in the thick of the action. 3.5 seconds separating the front from the back of the field in the qualifying session yesterday. Good conditions here, ready for the start of this race, and let's look at the start lineup. Kane Scott on pole and Andy Booth alongside, so all Commodores at the front, then Falcons with Paul Radisich and Brady Kennett.
Another Falcon with Dean Perkins in 5th, followed by second team Kiwi driver Nick Ross, Angus Fogg in 7th, and Wade Henshaw in 8th.
In 9th and 10th, it's the 2 Caltex Haviland cars of Paul Pedersen and Michael Shepherd, just ahead of Danum Templeman and Paul Manuel and their Commodores.
Next row of the grid in 13th with Adam Brook in the Falcon, followed by Andrew Fawcett in his Commodore, Andrew Anderson, and 16th David Thexton.
In 17th place, it's Dale Lambert and his Falcon, beside Mike Wallace from Dunedin, then Clark Proctor, the Speedway man, alongside Jared Carlisle, both in Falcons.
Michael Tom, one of last season's front runners, back in 21st place, followed by Aaron Harris in his Commodore, Craig Boot, third of the Caltex Haviland drivers, in 23rd, followed by Grant Shivers in 24th.
The only woman in the field, Julia Hussif, is 25th on the start grid, alongside Ashley Hall. Then it's Michael Perot and David Parsons. Coming to the start now, Kane Scott dictating the pace well in the Super Chief Commodore and gets a nice break as the lights go green. Andy Booth slots into second, but look at Paul Radisich come down the inside of him in that Mark Pedersen Falcon.
Great move for him into the first corner to be able to stay in touch with Kane Scott. Now will be the challenge for him. Already though, Kane pulling away.
This view from Wade Henshaw shows a bit of argy-bargy going on just ahead of him.
Bit of a squeeze out into that far corner. All 28 cars look like they've got through there fairly well.
Yes, well done. I think it was Angus Fogg who just stepped off the edge of the track just slightly. You can see how busy it is right through the field, but look at Kane Scott grabbing himself a bit of fresh air between his Super Chief Commodore and the pursuing cars led by Paul Radisich in the 027 Falcon.
Yes, these guys will be looking at maximising their pace while the tyres are relatively cool and getting away from the pursuing cars.
Good fight going on already between Angus Fogg and Paul Pedersen in the Caltex Haviland car back in about 8th. That's Dean Perkins getting a bit sideways there as well as he came onto the front straight. Oh, David Thexton on board with him, looking out the back, very, very busy. That's Aaron Harris on the right, Michael Wallace on the left. Michael Tom had already just gone past him in the Hydrolink car, so it's very, very busy. Quite a bit of pushing and shoving going on.
Yes, second back to about 12th. It looks very, very tight. Meantime, Kane Scott has just stretched his lead on that first lap.
That was the view we were getting there. That was the daylight behind the Super Cheap Commodore, looking back to Paul Radisich in second place. Radisich is taking a little bit of heat, though, from Andy Booth, having a good race.
Yes, and Brady Kennett back there in fourth, doing a great job as well. Now on board with Wayne Henshaw, tucked in right behind Nick Ross. Looking for a nice smooth line through the infield here. Very important part of this track, keeping that momentum running all the way through here.
Oh, the pressure coming again on Paul Radisich. I don't think he'll crack, though, in that United Video Falcon. He is really a past master in touring cars, as he's proven in racing in Britain and, of course, in Australia currently.
Yes, bit of a coup having him here. Of course, Mark Pedersen unfortunately can't be here due to his illness, glandular fever. So at the last minute, they managed to get Paul come along to fill in for him.
Here's the race start, the replay view from David Thexton's point of view, starting back in the mid-pack. And that is Andrew Anderson getting ahead of him on the left-hand side in the E-frame Commodore. Now we're on board with David Parsons right off the back of the field. Julia Hussip alongside of him. And he's just settles in behind her. That's Mike Perro, the series sponsor, going on past.
Yes, good indication of how busy it is back there in the field.
Meantime, out front, look at the gap. Kane Scott is scorching away. Someone's off the track.
Oh, that's Paul Manuel. That's a disappointment, especially after the big effort to get him here from Timaru after his crash. That is a major disappointment.
Yeah, lots of smoke from the Oryx car. That looked like the problem. And now Andy Booth really applying it to the back bumper of the United Video Falcon, trying to get away through there and try to get up again with the race leader, Kane Scott, who's making a clean getaway.
Yes, I'm sure Paul Radisich will be used to this sort of heat after having a number of years in the V8 supercars, so he'll be just keeping an eye on his mirrors, keeping the lines nice and tight.
Thoroughly enjoying it, I'm sure. Look at this fantastic field. Here's a tight fight going on further back there, but still Radisich fighting off Andy Booth for second place.
Yes, Brady Kennett still hanging in there in fourth again. Good consistent result from him in qualifying. He's just really capitalising on that now.
Yes, he's got Dean Perkins, who's one of the established Ford front runners behind him. Here's the onboard view from Kane Scott looking out the back window as he goes down this long Teretonga front straight. And there's the onboard view from Wade Henshaw looking forward.
As always, out in front like that, Kane can take the racing line and hopefully extend his lead even more. You know, no heat, so it makes a difference. These cars being so close, and as we said earlier, only a couple of seconds splitting the cars in qualifying just makes it so hard.
That was Nick Ross in the 777 TKR car stepping off the edge of the track there, obviously pushing pretty hard as he fights to stay ahead of Wade Henshaw tracking him.
Now these guys will be looking for the first few laps just to get the tyres up to temperature without overboiling. Again, we have a problem on this track, particularly with blistering of tyres. So again, making sure the pace is nice and steady just till they get set up.
Well, back in the field, this is Ashley Hall. We're on board with him. Up ahead. Big fight going on here, that's for sure.
Michael Wallace there, obviously a problem by the looks of it as he pulls off to the left.
Yeah, going very slowly on the infield. Further up front, things still fairly tight from third place on back. Dean Perkins at the back of that group and Wade Henshaw trying to draft up to them as well as he tracks Nick Ross.
Great shot here of all the cars searching for that extra bit of draft down the front straight, reaching up to speeds of around 220k here.
Tucked in the middle of the bunch, Dean Perkins in the GT Radial Falcon came to this round in fourth place in the championship, looking for some more good points after one DNF in last weekend's races.
Yes, looking ahead, looks like Kane Scott's extended that lead even further. Paul seems to have established himself ahead of Andy Booth, with the rest in procession behind.
Nick Ross, his car seems to be a little bit loose. It's been off the edge of the track a few times. It's just him using all the road and then a bit more, or what?
Well, either that or he's pushed on a bit hard at the start of the race and now he's paying the price with the tyres going off.
Certainly got Wade Henshaw tucked up close behind him still, but Wade doesn't seem to have been able to make any ground on him in that Mike Perro Commodore, so those two locked together pretty much all the way so far.
Definitely so. These Commodores are very, very close, and again, the parity with this class has stepped up another notch this year. Again, we're seeing the Commodores a lot more competitive this time round.
Angus Fogg, the next car behind him. This is further down the field. This is on board with David Parsons, one of the Team Ballistic Falcons, working away there.
Looks pretty relaxed, doesn't he?
Turns out a fantastic team. Oh, Andrew Fawcett's taken a turn off the track. Looks like he's had a wild moment.
Yes, either a tap or he's just gone off on his own accord. We'll pretty hard. Oh, here we go. This might, no, this is after the fact. Yes,
Yeah,
must have had a
that's
problem.
David Parsons just going past him there as Parsons tracks Julia Hussif and comes up on Mike Perro. Oh, and he gets a little bit wide there and steps right off the edge of the track. We're around the midway point in race 1 for the V8 touring cars here at Teretonga. We're on board with David Thexton as he tries to get under Michael Tom. In fact, he makes contact. Wow, now Michael Tom did a great job to recover from that.
And just carried on like it hasn't happened. A great bit of car control there.
And that, let me tell you, is at the fastest point in this Teretonga circuit. That was a good get out of jail, that one by Michael Tom. Here we go, further up the field, looking at Nick Ross with Wade Henshaw tracking him. Currently they're running at about 5th. Ooh, someone else off the track. That was a loose move from Dean Perkins, running in 4th place.
Oh, it's just another part of the Dean's driving. He got it back together pretty well there, considering he was right in the grass.
Well, full power on, that's for sure, and recovered quite nicely. But now look at Nick Ross has drafted up behind him. Good fight going on further back. Adam Brook fighting off Daneham Templeman right at the rear of that line.
Looking back through the pack here, it's certainly busy out there. That's Wade Henshaw, I think, slipping back. Angus Fogg's just gone around the outside of him. Back for about 6th or 7th place.
So Henshaw has been fighting just ahead of that group. Suddenly Fogg right up and past him. Still this good fight going on behind them. This is Daneham Templeman at the back of it in the orange car, trying to put the pressure on the NZSTI car of Adam Brook out of Christchurch.
And just in front of them, Andrew Anderson, again a front runner from last year's series, just showing a bit more form here.
Yes, he has been having a better run here at Teretonga, but has these two close and behind him. They've made close company pretty much all through the race so far.
Yes, Adam Brook, 2nd season in V8 Tours, and again stepping up with some good form this weekend.
I'm pretty impressed with Daneham Templeman coming out of rally cars and, oh, look, there's Henshaw slowing down. We're on board with him as he slows down the front straight. This is bad news for him because he has been putting together some good results last week at Timaru, and that has put him back up the order in the championship up to 3rd.
Yes, the series sponsor won't be happy on that one. I'm sure Wade won't be himself either.
No, well, that's one out. These three still fight on. As you can see, Michael Shepherd in the 34 Caltex Haviland car just ahead of them with Andy Anderson tucked in between them.
Yes, this is about the time of the race when the tyres start going off, and as you can see there, Daneham Templeman got a good lead onto the straight, and he's just carrying that speed all the way down there. Should get past Adam Brook down the inside.
Brook hanging on the outside, and the Falcon trying to put the comeback on him. Whoa, that's not a bad turn of speed he shows down the front straight.
Well, now they're going to hang out there. They call it hanging out to dry. And look, he's got the outside line, but the squeeze will come on from Daneham here for sure. As we get to the outside of the corner, watch this.
Nice fight. This is why the fans love this class so much. There are fights like this going on all through the field. So it doesn't matter if someone like Kane Scott blasts away into the middle distance out front. And there he is, in fact. You've still got guys fighting all the way back behind there.
Yes, these two guys are definitely making it look easy. They're obviously the class of the pack and just doing it at their own pace. Whoa!
Templeman in trouble. Oh, and now a big hit from behind. Not sure who it was who hit him. It was Adam Brook. The two we saw fighting. Dale Lambert gets hard on the brakes. And look at the damage in the back end of that car. There was smoke. David Thexton approaching them now. And he's going to see a scene of carnage down the bottom of the front straight. One car off on the right. That would be Adam Brook. There is the Daneham Templeman car, very badly stoved in the back end of it.
Well, it looked like, oh, here we go, slow motion. Look at this. Well, it blew an engine, then straight up the back. Obviously couldn't see. Also, the oil on the track would have just meant that there's nowhere to go.
Ah, well, what a disaster for those guys and a lot of damage that takes them out of it. Here's our race leader, though, Kane Scott, coming through to take the victory. Checkered flag awaits. What a comeback this has been. All the dramas of the last week brushed away with a win here at Teretonga.
And again, I guess it's sweet beating Paul Radisich as well.
Radisich in 2nd place. Coming through in 3rd, Andy Booth. Another good performance from him. There's Adam Brook walking away from the damage of his car. And look at that. That has taken such a big hit in the back of it.
Yes, the full face helmet hides the smile of Kane Scott. A dream result for him, a nightmare for some others.
So the Super Cheap car returns to pit lane. What a dominant show from them.
Well, down here in the pits with Kane Scott. Kane, what a great effort that was.
Oh, what a good race, yeah. You know, I hope the rest of the day goes that way, that's for sure.
I would never like to say you made it look easy, but How was it out there?
Yeah, you know, you go hard every lap because otherwise they just keep coming at you. But the boys call the times every lap, and each lap we pull a little gap, and that just sort of strives you on to the next lap.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly fun race. You know, Motorsport New Zealand's idea of manipulating the results with the weight is certainly working. There's just no way I was going to stick with those two guys out of the slow corners. You know, I'm carrying the equivalent of a small passenger around, and they just were leaving me at the slow corners. But at the end of the day, you know, I think neither Paul or Kane are seriously in the championship hunt at the moment. So it was a pretty conscious decision to, you know, to pick up the points for third and just keep building on that championship total.
I'm just happy with that. It's you know, the Kane Scott car's performing very, very well, and he got a bit of a break on me in the first two laps. Once I got ahead of Andy and then tried to shake him off, I lost a little bit of momentum to Kane in the front, and that was sort of the way it was. But maybe the next race we'll have a good one. But I'm looking forward to the reverse grid. That'll be great. I'll hold them up and let them work really hard for their points.
Paul Manuel, you and the boys from Oryx Team Racing have really put the work in the last week to get here for Teretonga, but it looks like it's all over after the first race.
Yeah, it is. We've got a oil surge problem with the engine, and I pulled out of the last one after a couple of laps. That's what happened in the practice yesterday with our other engine, and I wasn't going to do it again. It's just an issue that you know, we can't overcome at this stage, so we'll be watching from the sideline.
Confirming the results then, that was a 5-second gap that Kane Scott had behind him. Back to Paul Radisich in second, Andy Booth coming home third.
Brady Kennett in his Falcon fourth, followed by Dean Perkins and Nick Cross.
In seventh place, it's Angus Fogg coming home ahead of Michael Shepherd and Andy Anderson.
10th, Dale Lambert in the Falcon, followed by Clark Proctor, newcomer to the series, and Michael Tom in his Commodore.